What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Ah, you bitch! Tonight I want to talk about the greatest of all time, in my opinion, in the opinion of many other tradesmen out there. This is the Mac Daddy of all circular saws, the Skil Mag77. A true worm drive saw. This thing has all the power that you really ever need. This will cut through a goddamn bank vault if you wanted to. Now, one thing I did with mine, this isn't a requirement, it's just made things a little bit easier for me, is I have attached a much larger 50-foot extension cord to it. Now here is the original 8-foot power cord. I took this off immediately, just never saw a day of use. Don't even know why I have it. Not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do with it.
Oh, you could stick it in your bum bum.
But anyway. Now, is this a saw for everybody? Well, if you'd ask me, I would say yes. I think this saw can be used anytime, anywhere, for any reason, on any material. Just by changing out the blade, you can cut steel, aluminum, concrete, whatever you like. Like I said, it is heavy. It's a heavy saw. If you've never used a true worm drive saw before, the weight is something that you're just going to have to get used to.
Deal with it.
But the performance vastly outweighs any issues that you may have with how heavy it is. In my opinion, the weight is one of the reasons why I love this saw so much. Now, that's not to say that cordless doesn't have its place. Believe me, both of these saws have seen extensive use. I absolutely love this little 4.5-inch circular saw. This thing is awesome. And if you don't have one, I highly recommend you pick one up. They're about $100, $120. Brushless motor, it's part of their Atomic line. This thing is the balls. I absolutely love it. It's great for ripping plywood. Whatever you want, you can really get a good reach with this thing. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. I do recommend, if you can, hooking up some sort of dust collection or just a shop vac, whatever. Tape the fucking thing on there, whatever you got to do. I mean, you can see all, the tape that's still left on this thing. The reason I say that is it makes a fucking mess. It really does. It just throws shit, and you pick it up, start cutting, and leave a fucking mess everywhere you go. Now this bad boy right here, this is actually the first saw that I reviewed on the channel. My first video was an unboxing and kind of a really shitty demonstration of this saw. Having had it for well over a year, I love it. It's a great saw. But if I had to pick one, right, one saw to keep forever, I'm going with the Mag77. I've had the Mag77 for years. I've used the Mag77 for years, almost since my start in the trades when in my late teens. The Mag77 was the saw that the gentleman that I started working with when I was 18 years old used, and that's the saw that I learned on, and I absolutely love it, and I don't see a reason to change that. Now, if you don't have power available, if you can't plug in, then you have to go cordless. Skil does make a cordless model of the Mag77, but from what I understand, those saws perform phenomenal. They're great saws. They're very expensive. The Mag77, the corded version that I have, you can pick up brand new for, $200. Super easy to use. Very, very straightforward, very user-friendly. 2 3/8 inch depth of cut at 90 degrees. 1 15/16 at 45. Onboard tool storage. Here underneath. Pretty much every saw has onboard tool storage, and if it doesn't, I'd stay the fuck away from it. One thing to be mindful of with these saws do require grease. They open up right here. This worm drive, these gears, they do require grease. You can see this thing's covered in it. Skil makes its own brand of grease for this saw. That is the grease that the manufacturer calls for, so that is the grease that I use in it. Now, one thing that's very easy, very convenient, but also very dangerous. I don't encourage people to do it. I'm in no way supporting it, but I do it. Take one of these framing nails, pin the blade guard open, like so, for making plunge cuts, things like that. Once again, dangerous thing to do. Not encouraging it. You could be inviting kickback and putting yourself in a pretty dangerous situation by doing that. Now, the blade change on these is also super easy. Back to our framing nail deal. And just pin that blade guard open. The button on this oil filler cap gets depressed in. Break that free. There you have it. Now everybody has their particular saw, right? Especially tradesmen. They're very particular about their tools, and every guy thinks that their tool is the best and their choice is the best. And in my opinion, this is the best. It really is. It's a great saw. It's a saw that built America. Truly. Some facts about the Skil saw you may not be aware of. 1928, so we go way, way, way back in time, just after the Great Depression. Skil released their Model E Skil saw. That right there was your first inception of a worm drive circular saw. Fast forward a little bit to 1937, this dude named Ed Sturba built the first Model 77, which is what you're looking at here. This is just obviously a much later generation of it, but in any case, built the first Model 77 with the 7¼ inch blade. And then a pretty cool thing, so when we're talking about Skil developed this air-driven 12-inch circular saw during World War II, and this thing was used, it pretty much worked everywhere. I mean, the fucking thing worked underwater, for Christ's sake. They'd use it to cut timbers and piles and all types of shit with it. The model was the PS12, so this used an air-driven Thor motor, and that was mounted to a worm drive, and they painted them in these really cool like camo colors, and then they came in these water-sealed plastic cases, so if they couldn't be taken to shore by hand, they could be thrown in the water and floated, or drug onto shore, or whatever. They were really, really quite a versatile saw, and they were used very, very extensively throughout that war. I don't have any experience with Skil other than Mag77. I don't own any other Skil saws, but from what I understand from guys that use their table saws and even their router tables and stuff like that, they're very happy with those purchases, and they haven't let them down yet. So, might be an avenue worth exploring. I don't know. I don't see a reason to change brands for table saws and stuff like that at this point. But Skil has a name. It's a trusted name. Albeit their quality may have gone downhill, I can appreciate recently them trying to rebrand themselves and kind of get the people's trust back with their products. So to wrap this up, I mean, you might be asking yourself, Kalen, what's the fucking point of this video? Really, we've drawn this out. What are you getting at? What I'm getting at is this. My opinion, for what it's worth, and it might not be worth shit to you, it might be worth something, I don't know, but my opinion is this, hands down, the best circular saw, fucking period, ever, period. Given any opportunity that I have, this is what I'm going with, so long as I have a way to power it, right? And I put 50 feet of cord on it, so I can get pretty far away from an outlet and still be good to go. The main reason for the cord, this long cord, is for working up, up in the air. It seems to help. I've had a good experience with it. I've had people that look at me like I'm fucking nuts for having that on there, but I'm telling you right now, it's just a convenience factor is all it is. It's not a requirement to put that in your saw. The 8-foot cord is just fine. I'm not encouraging people to start altering their saws or anything. I mean, when you open that thing up and take that stock cord off and put that extension cord on, what you're doing is you're voiding the fucking warranty on the saw. I need to make that clear. When you open this thing up and start fucking around with it, and you fuck it up by doing that, don't expect them to honor any warranty. They may, but don't expect it. It's a rock star right out of the box. You don't need to do anything to it. That's what I did. I know many other people that have done that over the years. My father's done that with all of his fucking circular saws for decades and decades and decades and decades. And if it was good enough for him, the guys that he worked alongside with, damn sure good enough for me. The other point I want to make is being mindful of what you're using your saw for. Now, I don't have a Sidewinder saw to showcase here. I don't particularly care for Sidewinder saws. I just think they're uncomfortable. I don't like the line of sight. I don't like having the blade right next to the motor. I don't like how stubby they are. I find them uncomfortable to use, and so if I can avoid it, I don't use them, and I'm damn sure not going to buy one. Not saying anything bad about a Sidewinder saw. They're great too, I suppose, but they're just not my preferred saw. But what I do have are two examples of a rear-handled saw. One is a true worm drive, and one is a worm drive style saw. If you're a guy that's working in production work, these are two viable options. This is about 200 bucks. This, I'm not entirely sure what the price of this thing is now. When I bought this, I got the whole kit. So I got the saw, a 9 amp hour flex volt battery, fast charger, a fucking bag. I hate bags, but anyways, that kit I paid probably more than I should have for it, honestly. But this saw had just kind of come out, and I was really taken with it. I thought it was just such a great saw, and I loved the way that it looked. And, so I had to have it. The DCS 577. It's a great saw. I love it. But If you're going to get into this particular product, one thing you need to be mindful of is that it does use a proprietary battery system. It is a flexible only tool. Unlike, for instance, my hammer drill or even my reciprocating saw, they're flexible advantage tools, right? So I can use a regular 20 volt battery or I can use the 60 volt battery interchangeably with those. That's not the case with this. This is a flex volt only. So if you go and buy tool only, just get the saw and come home and try to stick one of these batteries in it, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It'll clip in. I'm pretty sure it'll clip in. It won't. No, actually, it won't. No shit. The more you know. So if you don't have a flex volt battery, be mindful of that. You may just end up having to get the kit. So this is just one man's opinion. If you've clicked on this video because you're either A, going to buy your first circular saw, or B, you're looking to change things up a little bit with your arsenal of tools, so to speak, my opinion, the Mag77 all day, the corded model. So as always, guys, I do appreciate you watching. I know there's a million other videos that you could have clicked on, but you clicked on this one. It does mean a lot to me, so thank you very much. Our next video is going to be a more permanent installation of a diesel heater that I use for the shed. I've had some complications with that thing in the last couple days, so I'm going to be putting my siege engine builds on hold until I can get the heat situation rectified in the shed. I'm going to document all that. I'll take you guys along with me as I figure out a plan and what I'm going to do for a more permanent solution to the diesel heater installation. So that'll be our next video. So we will see you on that one, guys. See you later.